Alright guys, so these are my nailers. No, this is not sponsored by DeWalt, but I paid my good money for all of these nailers. And the reason why is because Milwaukee nailers are not very good. I'm not going to say they suck. Obviously they still drive nails, but compared to DeWalt, and DeWalt was first to market for their framer as well, and Milwaukee doesn't even have a framer. But I think they're coming to market with one, but obviously this has been out for like how many years. So DeWalt it is, and I have all flexible batteries on them just so you can kind of get a general senses of the size of them. The framer, the 692. If you're gonna, you can see obviously this is the one I bought first year. I don't know, I forget, a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago now. It drives nails 3.5 inch and to 2 1/4. I forget. Don't hold me to it. I haven't done a review, I believe, on the 15 gauge because, well, I mean, these nails are pretty much, their functionality is all the same. The gauges are different. I'll go over a couple things about the 15 gauge, and I'll throw in some small videos of it going and driving some nails. I've had absolutely no problems. Now, the framer, obviously, you're going to use it to drive your nails for, whatever, 2x4s, anything you're going to need, regular, nails for, basically. 30-degree offset nails, you're going to need that. None of these other ones obviously do that kind of nail, so that's why you'd buy this kind of one. That's the reason why I invested in it. I was building my basement. I knew I needed I knew I wanted a nail gun. I didn't want to hammer in nails for an entire basement build, so at the time I bought this brand new when it kind of first came out, so this was a $500 tool with one battery, not even a flexible. It was just like a 3 amp hour or 4 amp hour battery. So that's what, and this was the only cordless, gasless, as far as the other gas cartridges. This was just a battery powered nailer on the market. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. This is the second generation one. They had the first generation that was kind of had some problems, but that I hit the button. Anyways, where was I? This is the second generation of the first generation. I think DeWalt just came out with I want to say a 20-degree nailer. And it can go to 3 1/4 inch nails, which I think in some areas, code is, you have to have 3.5 inch nails driven into, framing. So I'm not sure how they're going to get around that. But when I was doing my basement, it was fantastic. There was absolutely no, it saved me so much time just driving in nails. It's great. I loved it. This tool, it has a special place in my heart. Saved me so much time on pretty much anything I want to build with 2x4s or any kind of framing. Let's go on to the 18 gauge brad nailer. Brad nailers, you guys don't know, this is a 18 gauge brad nailer, 16 gauge finish nailer, 15 gauge finish nailer, and a flooring stapler. So you've already seen my video on the flooring stapler, and 16 gauge, 18 gauge, and my framer. This one I've had for a while. I used it for the nursery. I used it for flooring. I used it for a while. It's my favorite one, the 15 gauge. As far as the finish nailers, it's kind of hard to have a framer. I'm not going to be grabbing, if I need a framer, I'm not going to be grabbing my finish nailer and vice versa. But the finish nailer, 15 gauge finish nailer, this is DCN 650. It has a couple things which I like about it over the 16 and 18 gauge. When you press it down for reloading, the clip stays back. It locks. Fantastic. I don't have to. You can see on my. Alright guys, it's kind of, I got too many nails here. You can see on the 16 gauge, there's no lock. So when you're pushing through, it's not a big problem, but it's nice. It's very nice. So it makes me think, they had a little more engineering went into this. Also, they obviously come with new tips, and then it also has a pencil sharpener right here, which I thought was kind of neat. The 16 gauge does not. It does come with one tip right there. I have not replaced. This is the new one. That was I think I've gone through probably 4 or 5 tips, but they're obviously not expensive, and they have a little on tool storage, which I love, which is great. This one actually has 2 that come with it, and you can see the angle of the tool. The reason why I like it over the 16 gauge is because I can get into spots a lot easier. I'm not going to throw a nail through my trailer, but the line of sight's great. And obviously I'm not going to do a complete review on it because these tools are pretty much the same as far as functionality. You got your stall release, you got your depth control, you got your speed, your magazine. Pretty much everything It's you know, tool-free jamming. None of these require tools, I believe. I'm gonna have to check the framer, but you know, tool-free jamming. I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, I know Hitachi has better nailers, but these are the first to the market, and yeah, they make me money. Honestly, they just make me money. And then the same thing, obviously, with a flooring stapler. You're doing flooring up to 1.5 inches on the flooring on the staple. This, I mean, you can use a 16 gauge. I did use 16 and 15 gauge to get into spots I couldn't get this into. But this is just a lot quicker. I mean, it saves you time, saves you money. Got, I think, a couple more flooring jobs coming up, and it's already paid for itself, really, honestly. So that's a rundown, guys, of the nailers, what you should get, what you're going to need. Now, between the 15 gauge and the 16 gauge, if you're doing, like, say, shoes or some thin molding, you know, you're going to want to use the finer, which is a 16 gauge, just because you don't want to split that wood, split that that product. And then, obviously, if you're going to have a, you know, thicker wood, anything like that, you want to have it adhere to whatever you're trying to nail it to, you're going to use a 15 gauge. It's just going to hold the wood better. But if it's thin, it's going to split. Well, it might split, and you just don't want to do that. So that's it, guys. Like and subscribe. I created a Patreon. I'll link that as well. You guys see you in the next video, and hopefully you guys aren't melting away like I am in this weather.